More than 27 million people in the U.S. don't have health insurance. Let that sink in. That includes more than 5 million children under 10. Now, the uninsured rate had been on a downward trend since the Affordable Care Act under Obama, but Trump attacked Obamacare from 2016 to 2020, raising the number of uninsured, and he's doing it again. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos owns 3 yachts worth $500 million. That money alone would provide basic health insurance for all 27 million of those uninsured. So fuck you, Bezos.
We're learning President Trump is planning to unveil a new health care proposal, and at this point, we're still waiting to know exactly what's in it, but we're told it could include a temporary extension of the Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies, which are due to expire at the end of the year. They were at the center of the government shutdown. However, the subsidies could come with some fresh guardrails that could include new income limits and a requirement that everyone pay some form of a premium. Now, we should note that if the subsidies do expire, millions of Americans are expected to see their premiums more than double next year. Zach Cooper is joining us now. He's a professor of health policy at Yale University. Zach, thanks for being here. As I noted, we are very much still waiting for specifics here. I'm sorry, this has actually been, sorry, Zach, we're getting breaking news while I'm talking to you. I have learned that the White House has postponed its expected unveiling of this new health care proposal.
You can't make that shit up. This Republican Party is not only repulsively ignorant, but the so-called Christians are allowing Trump to decimate the CDC, NIH, and under this freak are putting children at greater risk by pulling vaccines off the table.
I have never been anti-vax. I have never told the public avoid vaccination.
I see somebody on a hiking trail carrying a little baby, and I say to him, better not get him vaccinated. And he heard that from me. If he hears it from 10 other people, maybe he won't do it. Maybe he will save that child.
We'll get back to that. But first, the story you just heard on CNN is the very reason we had the shutdown. And one of the big reasons Marjorie Taylor Greene told Trump to fuck off. Here's the skinny. The big, beautiful bullshit bill that Republicans shut down the government to protect was going to cut subsidies for Americans who are paying tens of thousands of dollars a year for coverage. And I don't mean millionaires. I mean people in the Midwest making $75,000 a year. And it's why Democrats wouldn't allow a vote on the shutdown, because they were doing their fucking jobs, protecting Americans over corporate interests.
So is it in dispute that ACA premiums could more than double without the extension of the enhanced tax credits?
They'll definitely go up. The share that you're responsible for paying goes up if those subsidies expire. How much depends a lot on your income level. And in particular, we could maybe think about a nice example here. So take a 50-year-old couple, so married couple in Wisconsin, 50 years old, no children. They're facing a total premium of about $18,000 for a middle plan this year in the ACA marketplace in Wisconsin. If they had the enhanced tax credits and they made $85,000 or more a year, so that's 400% of the federal poverty line, they'd get about an $11,000 subsidy, and they'd have to pay about $7,000 themselves. So if those subsidies expire, they're on the hook for that whole $18,000. So that's an $11,000 increase.
While extending the premium cuts for the Affordable Care Act is incredibly important, there's a whole lot more we need to be wary of. RFK Jr. is the head of Health and Human Services, which are 3 ironic words in that RFK Jr. is denying health, services, and he's far from human.
The nominee wrote a book saying that people had been misled into believing that measles is a deadly disease. He's trying now to play down his role in Samoa. That's not what the parents say. That's not what Governor Green says. It's time to make sure that we blow the whistle on actually what your views are. At least we're starting.
We need to move
Senator,
on.
I support the measles vaccine. I support the polio vaccine. I will do nothing as HHS secretary that makes it difficult or discourages people from taking either of those
Anybody
vaccines.
who believes that ought to look at the measles book you wrote saying parents have been misled into believing that measles is a deadly disease. That's not true.
That's from RFK's confirmation hearing, where we discovered that he is not only a loathsome human being who drove his wife to suicide, look it up, but he's now bent on denying life-saving vaccines to all Americans. And in doing so, has physicians' lives in danger from MAGA cock monkeys.
Owner of Miracle Mile Pediatrics, Dr. Monica Asnani, is swamped with kids coming in for the Pfizer shot, now available to 5 to 11-year-olds.
I think getting the vaccine is better than having COVID.
There's a lot of information, a lot of misinformation circulating out there.
Dr. Asnani spoke about the safety of vaccinating children on Good Day LA Thursday morning.
Vaccines
and prevention of disease and education.
10 minutes later, a stranger left her this hateful voicemail.
You need to have your license revoked and you should be in jail. COVID is not a threat to kids. Kids die from the flu 6 times more than COVID. You are disgusting and you should be jailed.
But it's very disheartening that we're the object of such vitriol when all we're doing is trying to keep our patients safe.
Look, Trump is a danger to the world in so many ways, but most importantly, his ignorance and the danger it represents is profound. We learned that during COVID.
Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you,
sure, I want you to.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
The estimates are that Trump's slow response to COVID cost more than 500,000 American lives. But Trump's reaction to Obamacare is all about Trump's racist jealousy of Obama, and that so many people respect Obama and no one respects Trump, except maybe his hillbilly base of junior high dropouts.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
It was so obvious when Trumpers were asked about which health policy they like better, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. Here's a hint. They're the same.
We're talking about health care today, and which plan do you support, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act.
And what is it about Obamacare that you do not like?
I just think that there's a lot of holes in it.
Do you know that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing?
No, they're not. Thanks, you made me look stupid.
But RFK Jr., saddled next to pouty fuckwinkle, is a dangerous combination of hubris and stupid.
Now, for those not familiar, RFK Jr. first has no scientific or medical credentials. Instead, he spent his career fueling anti-vaccine movements around the world, including one in Samoa that contributed to a measles outbreak that killed dozens of people and made almost 6,000 sick.
After reviewing the science and consulting top experts at NIH and FDA, HHS has determined that mRNA technology poses more risks than benefits for these respiratory viruses.
Everything he said is bullshit, a fucking lie that could kill millions. Remember the novel coronavirus, a virus never before seen in humans? In the midst of the greatest public health emergency since the flu pandemic of 1919, scientists took a new vaccine technology based on mRNA and ran with it. The technology wasn't new. It had been studied for decades. You see, traditional vaccines use one of 3 approaches to trigger an immune response. 1, a weakened version of the pathogen, like in the chickenpox vaccine, or an inactivated version, like in flu shots, or an actual piece of the pathogen used in shingles vaccines. Whatever version is used, traditional vaccines are expensive and time-consuming to produce. The approach taken to produce mRNA vaccines is markedly different. Scientists used the RNA-based genetic sequence of the SARS-CoV-2 and turned it into DNA. That allowed them to identify the instructions needed to create the unique spike protein found on the surface of the virus. When they were able to engineer the corresponding synthetic mRNA in the lab and insert it into the vaccine, it worked. Then they were able to engineer the corresponding synthetic mRNA in the lab and insert it into the vaccine. It took less than a year to roll out not just 1, but 2 equivalent, highly effective mRNA COVID-19 vaccines. As a result, millions of lives were saved.
They had a diphtheria tetanus pertussis vaccine.
That's the good news. Then there's this. Today it was announced that Dr. Ralph Abraham, who as Louisiana's Surgeon General, ordered the state health department to stop promoting vaccinations and called COVID vaccines dangerous. Well, he's been named second in command at the CDC. So just in case you were running out of reasons to hate Trump, RFK, and the rest of these pustulant skin tags, these idiots owned by corporate interests are ready to stick it to Americans and their children so Bezos can have himself a new yacht. To which I say, fuck you very much.
Goddamn right.
They had what?
Go fuck yourself.
I kept my underwear on.
I'm very excited about that.
They know how to get to me.
Who are you talking to?
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
TikTok.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donna.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.